Welcome back to the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show. My name is Jeff Holst, and I'm drinking coffee.
I'm Brian Levredge, and I'm not.
True. So we are filming early, so we decided not to drink today, mostly because I drank plenty last night, and I didn't want any more today, but hey, you know who's counting. So today we have a fascinating episode of the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show, and we are going to talk about networking, and that's what I was doing last night, and that's why I'm not drinking right now. So we'll talk to you about that right after this.
Welcome to the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show, where hosts Brian Levredge and Jeffrey Holst pour our old fashioned real estate advice.
All right, Brian, I'm going to let you take this one because I need a rest. I've been over networking.
So in our previous episode, we were talking about remote investing and why, some of the pros, the cons, etc. And a big piece of being able to do that is networking.
Right, absolutely.
And in doing that, to me, it's probably, as an investor, the single most important thing you can do.
Yeah, and there's a wide array of reasons why networking is useful and a wide array of ways to network. And that's really what we're going to talk about right now is the different ways that you can network and why it's important. So you've alluded to the first reason it's important, which is like it helps you meet people that can be useful in your business, like contractors, property managers, bankers, all of the people for your team.
Yeah, we mentioned team building in the previous episode and other episodes, which you can see here or there
or somewhere, wherever they appear above us.
The other thing is a lot of real estate opportunities, investment opportunities, are acquired typically off market, right? And so having relationships, developing relationships with other investors, agents, who sometimes have pocket listings, for instance, and so forth, is a great way to be able to find opportunities.
Yeah, in fact, I think the last 3 or 4 deals that we've done collectively have all been brought to us directly by somebody.
Exactly.
It's not like we were out there looking for them, scanning and sending letters. It's literally people coming to us and saying, hey, what do you think of this deal?
There's a key element to networking, though, and that's doing what you say you're going to do, which, you kind of should do that really in everything else in life, just to be clear. But people talk, people develop reputations for, both good and bad reasons. You want to develop one for all the right reasons.
Right.
And so, when you are networking with agents or potential buyers and sellers for that matter, it's important to follow through on what you say. Because if somebody puts their faith in you to get a deal done or closed and you don't do that, they're going to be less likely to bring you another opportunity in the future.
And related to that, if you are going to, say you put a deal under contract with an agent or a seller or whatever it is, and you aren't going to be able to close, it's important that you tell them right away. Like as soon as you identify the reason why you can't do that deal, and I would say even if you're just not going to, say an agent brings you a deal and you're just like, yeah, this isn't for me, rather than just ignoring them, pick up the phone and tell them, here, I appreciate you bringing the deal. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Here's why. And here's what I am looking for, because by sharing that information, you're opening up the possibility of that next deal coming to you. And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to with, you have to be consistent in your communication and follow through. And so networking is really 2 functions, right? The first function is actually meeting someone. The second function is developing a relationship with them. And a lot of people do this wrong. I see this at conferences all the time. Brian and I go to conferences occasionally, and you see people with a stack of business cards this thick, and they're like, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. That is not the best way to network. Handing out business cards does not work. It might work once out of 100 or something.
I get home and I have a stack of cards.
And you're like, I don't even know who these people are, and you throw them away. Or maybe if they're exceedingly lucky, you put them on your mailing list, and then they start getting emails from you. You still don't know who they are, but they get an email from you. But what the real trick to networking, I think, is to build those really close personal connections. So when I go to a conference and I'm going to network with someone, my goal is to meet 2 or 3 people that I'm going to be friends with. Because people like to do business with their friends.
Yeah.
That's really the secret to networking. At the end of the day, people want to do business with people they like.
Yeah. And, I moved here 10 years ago. But when I came here, I knew 2 real estate agents, kind of tangentially. And so, friends, investors, agents, all these people in the 10 years that I do business with now, those are all relationships that I've developed since I've been here. And I threw myself in feet first, back then. And things have changed. Social media has made it, in my opinion, a lot easier for people to network. Not virtually, but a lot of events are advertised or listed on Facebook, for instance.
It's easier to find out who's doing what. And that matters too, right? So like I've met tons of people because of the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show. They'll reach out to me and be like, I've seen your show. And my answer when someone emails me that, if I'm going to be around and they're going to be in Chattanooga, I'll be like, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee. Let's have a conversation and see what's, how we can work together. And I don't even go into networking. That's the other thing. You don't go into networking. You don't go into networking going like, what can this person do for me? You go into networking going, I want to build a relationship, and then whatever happens, happens. And a lot of times it's I can help them with something, but other times it's they can help me, and a lot of times it might be 2 years later. I've had this happen so many times where I met someone for coffee a couple of different times over a couple of years, never had any business with them, and then one day they call me up and they're like, hey, I have this deal I don't want to do, what do you think? And it's a great deal and I'm super happy.
Yeah.
And it only has to happen once in a while, and it's an amazing...
And that's a great point, right? Like I think as investors, you never want to be first or be the pioneer because you get a lot of arrows. You learn a lot of mistakes the hard way, which is okay as long as you don't keep repeating those mistakes.
It's okay as long as you don't bleed out and die.
Right. As long as you've got good triage, that's a whole other thing, right? Have a good doctor on your team also. But the point is, if you give freely of your time in an effort to help other people, I think that's really valuable, right?
Yep.
Because it not only is it the right thing to do, but you can potentially save other people from making some of the same mistakes.
Yeah.
You yourself have made, and I think that makes us all more successful in the big picture. And sometimes, you'll get, maybe a deal or benefit out of that. I mean, don't go looking for that with that expectation of getting it back. But you do need to also, I would encourage you to give freely of your time. Don't waste it. Don't give it to people who aren't really serious about doing this. And there are a lot of people that look at investing in real estate. Oh yeah, we're going to do this, and then all they do is talk, and they might read books, and they might even go to seminars and things like that.
Even at conferences we see this, right? I've seen people that go to this. I've been to some conferences 2 or 3 times, and I see a person the 3rd time in a row, and they're telling me how they're just about to do their first deal, and that's what they were saying 3 years ago at the conference. And the thing is, it takes a little discernment to figure out, who to spend time on. My default position is short period of time with everyone at first, but quickly decide who's worth building that relationship with, because you can't have a million relationships.
No, there's not enough time.
There's only so much time in the day. There's only so many things you can do. Actually, here's a question for you, Brian. So, like, besides like going to conferences or like people reaching out to you or like that sort of thing. What are other ways that you could meet people? Not necessarily even for real estate, but just for business in general. Like, where are places that you've met people that have developed into relationships?
BNI is one off the top of my head.
Okay.
In full disclosure, I'm not the biggest fan, but a lot of people are.
Sure.
Right.
So that's like a mini mastermind group that
bankers are actually a great way to bring people together because
like referrals from other people that you know. So like I met you through one of your clients who happened to be my dad, but the point is we met through networking, right?
Yes.
Like you were said, hey, I'm gonna go meet with this person. We're gonna have a conversation. We walked around the property, and then we were like, oh, we should go out to lunch and get to know each other. We built a relationship. So referrals, that's good. Small group meetups, that could be like Facebook group meetups. Like we have some local meetups here, and if people are in Chattanooga, I recommend checking those out. But it could also just be like actually I fly a lot, so I meet a lot of people at airport lounges, and I meet a lot of people on planes. That's, I know that seems weird, but like if you're just friendly with people, you just don't know when you're going to connect with them.
Yeah.
And it can be things like, paid masterminds. I mean, I've met some really great people in some of the small group masterminds that I've been in as well.
Yeah, no, I think, again, you have to discern for yourself what the best approach is. And you also, it can be uncomfortable putting yourself out there, meeting strangers in new situations, right? But that's how we kind of expand our horizons, is by pushing and testing those boundaries.
Yeah, and I think too, like one of the biggest advantages of always being networking is that you're like you said, expanding your horizons, but you're also like expanding your circle and your opportunities, right? Because you just don't know. Like if I hadn't networked with you, all of the stuff that we've done and this show wouldn't exist. Like neither of us would have done this without the other person. So there's a real advantage to having a relationship with someone. And, and this show has allowed us to network with people. We've made some really good friends. Some of our former guests are legitimate friends of ours now. And, we've done things like we had Harry Dent on the show, and we went out to dinner with him, in Puerto Rico one time. And all these people that we've met. And it all started because we just put ourselves out there. And in fact, what we're doing right now is a form of networking, even though we're not actually meeting someone right at this second, unless you count Cameron, the cameraman. But we already knew him, so I don't think we can count him. I always like to.
Met at networking.
Yeah, we did. That's exactly right. Cameron and I met at a networking event here in Chattanooga. So the point is, like, by putting yourself out there and opening yourself up to possibilities through networking, you're going to meet the people that you're going to like, and those people that you like are the ones that you're going to want to do business with. Hopefully they like you and want to do business with you too. And then pretty soon you're building businesses, you're buying new real estate, you're being exposed to new deals, you're or you're just transacting with them. Like, sometimes you meet an agent and then they bring you a deal, and it's a business relationship, but it's also a friendship. And plus it just makes your life richer to have good people in your life. So get out there, start networking, meet some new people. In fact, I challenge you, between now and the next episode, I want you to meet at least one new person. So
I think we about covered it.
I think so too. Get out there, network, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe.
We'll see you next time. Have a great day.